Dear Planet Earth, it's a real honour to be asked to write you a letter for the Milton Keynes International Festival. When writing to those I care for, I usually start by saying that I hope this letter finds you well and in good health. But I know that sadly this is not the case for you now. Things could and should be better for you. I've always loved you, and I've always marvelled at the delights and wonders you provide for those lucky enough to be born into this world. I'm old enough to remember the Apollo space programme and still recall with awe the first time I saw the famous Earthrise photograph taken by the crew of Apollo 8 as they orbited the moon. It is one of the most iconic photographs ever taken. You were captured for the first time in a single photographic frame, suspended in space in all your beauty and fragility above the lunar surface. And it was said at the time that now we'd seen how small and vulnerable you appeared in the vastness of space, that we would care for you better and give you the respect you deserved. But regrettably, that has not happened. Many people have treated you terribly, putting themselves first and neglecting your long-term health. And that is so unfair. Economic growth has been fuelled, literally, by the burning of carbon in oil, coal and gas, leading to carbon dioxide emissions into your atmosphere. Most people alive today have benefited from this economically, but the environmental costs to you, to nature, and ultimately all of us have been huge. And these costs, such as the loss of species, the acidification of oceans leading to the bleaching of coral reefs, plastic and air pollution, ozone layer depletion and land degradation, are not factored into the economic costs of production. Manufacturers get rich by ignoring the environmental problems they generate. You are the most beautiful planet of the solar system, and we are the most ungrateful and undeserving of guests. As a species, we have scarred and mistreated you, knowing what we are doing, but continuing anyway. We've even changed the axis on which you rotate. The melting of glaciers has redistributed weight around the globe, with billions of tons of ice each year melting and moving from land into the oceans. This is literally a massive change, a change in the distribution of mass, and it has shifted the North and South poles by several metres. What can be done? Many problems involving my species, humans, are ultimately relationship problems. When people treat each other unkindly or with lack of empathy, there are never good outcomes. And the problems I mentioned earlier are themselves the result of a relationship problem, the worst kind that there is, the problem of how we relate to you, planet Earth, our home. The rules by which we relate to you need to change. We've passed laws that give us the right to own parts of you. We may own an area of land. We have a word for this, we call it property. We've overexploited the bountiful gifts that you have given us, and rather than acting as guardians so that future generations will inherit what we did, many people take all they can from you. But I have some good news to report. There is a movement that wishes to change all this. Around the world, there is a growing group of lawyers and environmental activists that want new laws to protect you. And they've named it after you, Earth jurisprudence. I'm a big supporter of Earth jurisprudence. Let me tell you about it. In 2009, the then president of Bolivia, Evo Morales, stood at the podium of the United Nations General Assembly and stated that 60 years after the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, it was time to recognise a new generation of rights, the rights of Mother Earth, or as you are known to the people of the Andes in South America, Pachamama. Earth jurisprudence represents a new approach to the law, based on the belief that nature has rights. So, a river has the right to flow, species have the right to continue to exist in the wild, and ecosystems have the right to adapt and evolve over time. Earth jurisprudence insists that our most important duty is to respect the earth, you, both from a moral standpoint, because it is right, and from an instrumental standpoint, because ultimately human rights flow from you, and only by respecting your rights can our rights to food, water and health be fully realised. Another legal reform that would help you is the proposal that ecocide, the deliberate destruction of ecosystems and the species that comprise them be recognised as a crime at the International Criminal Court in The Hague. Now, if both these legal reforms, the recognition of your rights in law and the criminal prosecution of those who deliberately harm you, receive widespread recognition and adoption, then this would be in the interest of all of us. James Lovelock's Gaia hypothesis recognises that, like us, you are a living and evolving life form. You provide the biophysical conditions for all other life forms to flourish, and we must respect you more. In my work as Professor of Environmental Policy at the Open University, I have strived to use my teaching and research to alert others to the challenges that we and you face. And as a citizen, I have tried to reduce my ecological footprint. But I wonder if I've done enough. I will now try harder to do the right things, to look after you better and to care for you properly. Love you.